where the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandobi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Poetsky goes, dives onto the right side. Very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys. Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Poetsky. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. You know, it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the left car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Duna Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will cook the grass a little. A 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernald. Gernald will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
Much like the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, Circuit Zolder is a racetrack in Belgium. That's about where the similarities end though. As these twisty chicanes and these close walls, they make Zolder not only a tricky circuit, but a punishing one as well. Which driver will survive it all and come out on top today? Well, it's time to find out with our live coverage of round 8 of the Classic Team Championship here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hello everyone, I'm Samuel Ryman, and back alongside me in the booth is Richie Hearn. Behind the scenes doing all of the button pushing is our director Andretti, and he's using camera sets provided by Dougie Beard. Richie, in some ways Zolder could be concerned to a Montreal or even a Monza just due to the amount of chicanes here. However, it is definitely not as famous as these other circuits, so let's get our viewers up to speed on this track.
Yeah, thanks Sam. Yeah, this track is definitely similar to both those tracks where it's very narrow. It's old school where it's a narrow track, no runoff. So if you go off, you're going to hit something. But it also has a few tricky chicanes that kind of break this track up. Cars spend a lot of time in second gear, and it should be interesting to see how it stacks up, especially on that opening lap going into that first chicane. It's going to be a big field today, so I expect to see a lot of action. Probably the best way for you guys to see what it's like is let's jump on board that GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Juha Norlampi in the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around Zolder. Flying down towards Erst, you've always got to be careful about the downhill braking. It's tough hitting this apex and easy to understeer into the gravel. You don't have much time before you got to get the car to the left for Sturenwacht. This corner tightens on exit, and that can lure you into clattering over those tall sausage curves. Canal is easily flat out and simply leads you out into the entry to Bianchi. This is one of the more critical turns of the circuit. Fast and sweeping, it requires a good exit to carry your speed down to one of the more popular passing spots on the track. The Kleine chicane is tight and fiddly, but it's a heavy braking zone, and so most folks have a go into here at least once when trying to pass. Over the crest, hug tight to the left on Butte. Otherwise, you'll find yourself offline into Turleman. This is easily the most difficult of the 3 chicanes because it has 3 tricky apexes. A little lift is needed to get through the last one. However, through the banked right-hander, you should be able to hold it to the floor. That takes you on the sweeping run down to Boulderberg-Ospelt. This hairpin will be another common place for overtakes, and like most hairpins, it's best if you try to take it with a late apex. Watch out if you're side-by-side coming out because the little squiggle of Rindt can complicate things. Finally, there's Ix, which in this layout is going to be terrifyingly fast. Just clip the grass on the first part and be careful not to slip into the barrier on the exit. Hopefully, you kept it together and have now finished a lap around Zolder.
Well, that's what the lap around the alternate configuration of this Zolder circuit is like. This is a Classic Team Championship here. We have a large field here today. Once again, about 40 cars. We'll get an actual count for you in just a moment. Let's have a look at some of the top names throughout the series. As we are currently working round number 8 of 12, we are going to take 3 drop weeks into consideration. And when we do that, Alex Millward jumps up a bunch of positions in the points, just the way the math works out. However, there's one thing that no driver can deny, no matter how many drop weeks you throw at them, and that's that Gernot Frisch is a driver to beat. He has won pretty much all but 2 races this season, and he is here today to try and continue to build on that momentum, and currently holding a nice 70-point lead over Millwood, the defending champion Matt Wood, and Adam Fraser and George Lambert rounding out our top 5 driver standings there. Team Championship has been close all season long between Brabham, Ferrari and Lotus, and also Ligier throwing their name into the mix there as well. All 4 of those teams covered by 10 points, even when you throw the 2 drop weeks into effect. Brabham right now with the upper hand, Gernot Frisch obviously helping them out there, but also we've seen Peter Konietzki has definitely had some strong performances throughout the season. But Richie, here we're at round 8, and the picture could look quite different at the end of the day, so let's take a look at our race details.
Yeah, like you said, we're in round 8 of 12. We do allow 4 driver drops and 2 team drops. We're going to run 35 laps here. Should go pretty quickly. Setups are open. They don't have to make any pit stops for fuel or tires, so it's just straight up fight. They are working the incident cap at 17x, which might come into play here as, like I said, there's not a lot of room to make some mistakes. And we always use the official iRacing point system.
And also, because it's an official iRacing series, there aren't any league admins who can throw some rules or deterrents into the mix. And what does that mean? It means that nobody can tell these drivers not to abuse the runoff area at turn 4. Now, you're not going to be able to see what I'm talking about right now because it's qualifying and all these drivers are going to be trying to keep it on the grey stuff so that they don't get an incident point and that will disqualify their qualifying time. But when they come out of turn 4, which is a wide sweeping right-hander that leads them out onto the back straight, a lot of these drivers, especially early on in the race when they don't have a whole lot of incident points, will be abusing the runoff area on the exit. We'll see a lot of dust being kicked off up into the air.
As we watch qualifying going on, of course, we have Gernot Frisch right up there at the top of the time charts, as he always has been. Should be a good race, though, but he's been almost perfect this year, and he's really a master at this car, but he's got some really fast drivers joining this session, so hopefully we'll see a little bit of a challenge to him this time.
Yeah, well, just take a look at the intervals separating our top 2 right now. 8 thousandths of a second, Gernot Frisch has the upper hand on Matt Wood. Now, these drivers all have a track to themselves. They get to turn 2 hot laps in, and then if they want to proceed after that and gain some experience around the track, they're welcome to do so. Currently, we're watching Daniel Gutasso down in 19th. We can confirm it's a 39 car field here today. And good to see Glenn Corrigan back. He overslept, if I recall correctly, last week and missed the race. So fortunately, he set his alarm clock an extra 5 minutes early this morning.
Yeah, with 39 cars on this track, it's going to be a wild one. And that standing start's going to be pretty interesting to watch as they rush down to the first part of this track. And like you mentioned earlier, when they get to that first chicane, it's going to be a little bit like a parking lot.
One driver, as we watch Glenn Corrigan cross the line here, one driver who is yet to set a time has been Juha Noralampi. However, he's working his way through the final chicane right now across the line to put his first lap time on the board. It's a 1:15.1, only good enough for 5th right now.
Yeah, 5th place, not too bad, but he's a healthy 0.6 of a second from Gernot's time. Gernot did lower his time from the first lap, so he's at a 1:14.4.
Yeah, it looks like these two are actually the only 2 left on the track right now. Juha Noralampi and David Roth was in front of him. So let's see what Juha can do. Even though he's 5th, he's actually 0.7 of a second off of Gernot Frisch. So there's quite a wide margin between some of the lap times here today, considering it's a short track around. Just shows you some drivers can really master this circuit and get it down, and it makes a difference.
Yeah, all it takes is just getting one of those chicanes wrong, coming in a little fast or whatever, and you're going to lose a ton of time.
Now this is the, I mean, it's still a chicane, but it's not the chicane that it normally is. That's what makes this the alternate configuration. And that was a much better time for Juha. Jumps him up 2 positions to 3rd on the grid behind Gernot Frisch and Matt Wood. That's going to wrap it up for qualifying, so let's go ahead and read out our starting grid. It's Gernot Frisch and Matt Wood on the front row, our last 2 series champions there. Juha Noralampi will be starting 3rd place ahead of Alex Millwood, and then Nicola Cochi rounds out the top 5. Sergio Fernandez will line up alongside him, and behind him will be Pablo Lamprava Suarez and David Ruff. George Lambert and Marco Sanfilippo round out the top 10.
Yeah, starting in 11th will be James Chester, and right next to him will be Barry West. Next row in 12th and 13th will be Kendrick Taylor and Tommy Unhola. Starting 15th will be Daniel Banker. Next to him will be Robert Plumley. Starting 17th will be Simon Schultz and John Atkinson Jr. Starting 19th will be John Stevens, and starting 20th will be Danilo Sanfilippo.
Filippo's 10th and 20th place right now. Peter Kanaski will be starting 21st in the 21 car ahead of Charles Eric Clemelin. Daniel Gutasso will start 23rd in the 23. Tony Teolis will be starting 24th ahead of Steve Salis and Adnan Dizdarevic. Fabio Guerrero will be starting behind them, and not a great qualifying performance for Dustin Herreder back there in 28th place. Glenn Corrigan and Robert Simpkins round out the top 3rd.
And rounding out the final 9 positions will be Keith Herner, Paulo Alberton, Francisco Gutierrez, Todd Herner, Nicholas Isidro, David Ashby, and the last 3 did not put in a time. We got Yves Baldock, Francois Gagne, and Javier Romero.
So 39 cars. Won't be surprised if we're going to spend the whole 2 minutes of gridding time here to get them all up on the grid. Some drivers starting mid-pack may even elect to start from pit road, considering how many walls and cars there are around here for everyone to try and navigate. The leaders are here though. Gernot Frisch and Matt Wood have taken their spots on the front row and are getting set for 35 laps of racing here at the Zolder circuit. Should be about a 45-minute race. And the lights are up and they're off and away they go. Gernot Frisch leading them away. A nice start. It's going to be a side-by-side battle for 2nd place maybe, with Juha Noralampi throwing it in and taking 2nd position away from Matt Wood, almost shutting the door on him there. There was almost contact.
We got a little bit of action there in the back of the pack, but a nice clean start for our front row. But yeah, Juha Noralampi took advantage of that inside line going into the first corner, and is able to squeeze Matt Wood out of that position as he tries to chase down Gernot Frisch at the moment.
Not many drivers at the front of the field electing to run wide on the exit of turn 4 yet. They're all settled into their positions through the first chicane. This is definitely a trouble zone in the middle of the field. Some cars going wide on exit.
You see a little bit of rise as they go up and down and into that next chicane, which is really tricky. You come into that thing really fast, and then they exit that and then just lead on to this nice, fast, it's not straight, but it is flat out.
Yeah, the circuit definitely does have a bit of elevation change at some points, which could trick up some drivers. The leaders currently coming back on down the front straight to complete lap number 1, with Gernot Frisch leading, Noralampi up into 2nd place after that aggressive pass on Matt Wood in the first turn, and Nicola Cochi has also made up some ground on lap 1 from 5th to 4th. Yeah,
he's all over the back of Matt Wood. Matt's running for the championship here, so it's important that he doesn't have any mishaps. As you saw in the points, is Gernot's got a healthy lead, but that battle from 2nd through 5th in the points is very...
Definitely some different ways of taking lines through some of these corners. It's very difficult to find a rhythm at this circuit, and that's leading to some hairy moments, even around 10th place recently. I saw Tommy Unhola and Marco Sanfilippo almost make contact down into the first corner. But considering we've had 2 large pile-ups on the opening lap of the previous 2 races, That was a relatively clean start this time around. We did have a couple of spinners at the back in the first turn. Let's get a replay of that.
Now you can see how narrow it is, so if somebody stalls, there's nowhere to go. So everybody got going. They're about 2 or 3 wide, but then it squeezes down, and just somebody gets loose, somebody checks up, and it all just kind of falls apart from there. So we got one car back around, and here we are on board John Stevens. And I think he just doesn't see it coming and just checks up and then gets hit from behind.
Yeah, Francisco Javier Gutierrez is in the pits with damage, and Javier Romero has retired from the race, so there has been a little bit of attrition towards the back. No free repairs in this series. Towards the front, it's been quite clean though. A lot of drivers running where they started. We have had a couple big movers. Tommy Unhola being the first one of those. He started 14th, he's already up to 10th.
Yeah, Gurno's pulling out a tiny bit of a lead. He's a little over a second ahead of Noah Lampe, who's keeping him honest. But right behind him, that battle with Matt Wood, Nicola Kochi, and Alex Millward is still heating up. No real battle for a pass, but they're right on top of each other for that third place, that final podium spot.
It's a bit too early in the race to start giving awards for big movers, but we should make note that Keith Hearn has found his way by 11 cars already. It's only lap 3, he started 31st and he's up to 20th.
Yeah, we just had a move for 6th place as David Rolfe had just passed Suarez, and now Suarez is looking to get challenged by looks like Sergio Fernandez, who's got George Lambert all over, so they got a nice little scrap going on, and it was really tight between Suarez and Rolfe in that final chicane, or in the back section there.
Yeah, George Lambert was very aggressive at the start of a race last week at Brands Hatch. He told us after the race he wasn't happy with the way he was raced at the start, so he made some ambitious moves to try and get back up front. That included a 3-wide pass up into Droids. Unfortunately for Lambert, this week he hasn't been as aggressive at the start because he's started 9th and he's still back in 9th. He might want to get a bit angry with these cars in front, maybe pull off some similar passes.
As you can see on screen, Suarez has got his hands full right now with Fernandez and Lambert all over the back of him. And you can see how tight it is. It's, like I said, it's a lot like Montreal, where if you go off, the wall is right there. There's no room to... It's kind of old school, which I kind of enjoy. So it makes the penalty for making a mistake a little bit higher.
And as these drivers work on their way down the front straight, the pit straight, see another car grab into their pit box. That's Yves Baldock, so unfortunately he's ran into trouble. Actually have a few cars off of the lead lap already. Simon Schultz, Tony Teolis as well, so some drivers having difficulty towards the back.
Weather conditions are cold today, so 69-degree tire temp. I'm just mentioning that because I'm seeing a lot of these guys get really loose trying to get the power down off these tight corners.
Yeah, the virtual racing time, as I like to call it, has actually gone back in time. It's February 2nd on iRacing, so they're kind of stuck in Groundhog Day. I should make a movie about that. So, I don't think Gurno Frisch will complain too much, though. He'd like to live this day again and again. Right now, leading the field around.
Yeah, he's leading the field around, and he's pulling a small gap, but Noah Lampe's doing a great job. Like I say, keeping him honest, keeping him in his sights. He's only got a 1.6-second gap. And so we'll see as they're going to definitely get into some lap traffic with this big of field. And that's going to mix this up, as we've seen week in and week out with these big fields, that the lap cars definitely play a part.
This battle for 7th we picked up a couple laps ago is definitely still on, with Pablo Lombardo Suarez holding off Sergio Fernandez and George Lambert. They're kind of in an island on their own. Not a whole lot of pressure from behind, but not anyone in front to break up that battle either. Just have their own little thing going on, and right now the 11 leading the 7, leading the 4.
Yeah, they have, they're kind of battling on their own, but they do have Tommy and Holo, who's made up some good spots, 14th to 10th, and he's slowly crawling his way back. He's only a second behind this group, so, and he's got Marco Sanfilippo right behind him, so we might have a group of 5 fairly soon. Oh, there he goes. Ooh, Sergio Fernandez trying to make a move on the outside of Suarez. Doesn't make it stick, but, man, Suarez is going to... He's got a mirror full of Fernandez as Fernandez is just going back and forth, just trying to find any opening. He's got to worry about George Lambert, though, as he's doing the same.
By the way, while we've been watching this battle, I also did a bit of research. The groundhog did not see his shadow yesterday, so sprint should be coming very shortly. Right now, as we mentioned, this battle for 7th continues. Now they're coming up to the turn 4 where they can take liberties on the exit of this turn, Richie. You pick up an incident point by doing it, but sometimes if you do use that gravel on the exit, you can get a nicer run down the back straight and maybe make a move into the chicane.
We saw a few of them just right there, just kind of drop wheels in the dirt and try to get that run that you're talking about. But we are now, like I said, almost a group of 5. So Suarez is definitely holding this group up, but he's doing a great job making his car as wide as possible, making it very difficult for Fernandez. David Rolfe got in front of Suarez, and he's pulled ahead of that group and trying to chase down the 2 cars in front of him, Nicola Kochi and Alex Millward,
who are battling for position themselves. Kochi got by Millward at the start of the race, but Millward has ran him back down, so we could see a change for 4th place coming in the not too distant future. Depends how aggressive Millward wants to be.
These laps are clicking off fairly quick. They're already working lap 8 of 35, so it's going by fairly fast with only a minute 15-second laps. These guys are definitely busy, though. There's hardly any time to rest.
Yeah, it's 1 minute 15, but probably feels a bit longer for the drivers as they go around, knowing how many challenges they have to fight each lap. And because it's a single split of 39 cars, there's and it's such a tricky circuit, there's definitely a big difference in the lap times of the leaders and the lap times of the drivers at the back. And lap traffic will play a factor before the end of this race.
Up front, the gaps are pretty steady. Gurno's got 2 seconds on Norlampi. Norlampi's got 2 seconds on Matt Wood. Matt Wood's got 2 seconds on Kochi, so the battle really starts beginning about that 4th and 5th spot.
Those 2 drivers coming out onto the front straight again. Millward is definitely close enough to make something happen on Kochi if he wanted to. He just knows it's still early in the race, so he's probably just biding his time, not going to force anything unless the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, it's a track that you just got to be a little patient and just kind of pressure that guy into making a tiny bit of mistake. You can't really force the issue here, as there's not a lot of room and the track goes back and forth. There's not a lot of straightaway either to get that draft, so you're just going to have to do it old school wise by just outbraking somebody into those chicanes.
Another little battle on track going on for 11th place. Marco Sanfilippo holding off Barry West, pretty much running close to where they started. And again, another battle kind of on its island right now, that they've got a bit of a gap before they get to Tommy Unhola in front of them, and a bit of a gap until they get to Kendrick Taylor behind them in 13th place.
As we get going, the fuel's going to get lighter. The cars get more balanced as they burn the fuel up. So you're going to see these lap times dropping as Gurno's already almost into the 114s.
Gurno has had to deal with a little bit of lap traffic. I just saw another back marker coming into the pits, I guess, for damage. What's happened to Juha Norlampi? He's dropped off a couple of seconds.
Yeah, he might have had an issue there with the lap car. I don't know. I wasn't seeing, but yeah, now he's got Matt Wood all over the back of him. So he's no longer worried about Frisch. He's worried about the car behind him.
Yeah, whatever happened, it happened at the start-finish line. Because that's why he was slow. It's almost like he might have been serving a slowdown penalty. Yeah, maybe he cut that final chicane and he had to serve a slowdown penalty down the front straight.
Yeah, this battle for a 7th spot is really heating back up. These guys are nose to tail. Suarez, Fernandez, and Lambert. We've got a small gap to Anhola. He was catching up, but he's dropped down. But here comes, oh, there goes Fernandez on the outside. He's going to try, oh, he squeezes him off. And here they go, side by side. And it looks like he's going to get it done. Nicely done by both those drivers by keeping it clean. But that was a pretty bold move going on the outside.
Now, how are the Ligier teammates going to get on here? Not often we see teammate battles in this series. These drivers are pretty much randomly assigned their teammates throughout the season, so some of them might get on better with better together than others. Don't think we've really seen Suarez and Lambert in a battle before, so how is this going to pan out?
Yeah, you just saw Suarez go wide on that tricky right-hander and open the door for Lambert, but wasn't able to get his nose in there to make that pass. But yeah, you're right. Just being randomly selected doesn't mean you're friends with that guy. So it's definitely an interesting part of the series.
Yeah, Ligier are right up there in the championship battle with Brabham, Ferrari, and Lotus. So hopefully these drivers will keep it clean and should come out with a pretty decent points day with both of them running in the top 10.
And you see Fernandez has gapped this group right there. So Suarez is definitely holding these guys up. And this battle with Suarez and Lambert is all Anhola and Sanfilippo almost into that mix as well. Gurno's starting to cut through the field as he's lapped up to 30th spot so far. And that's opened his gap up to almost 5 seconds to Noah Lampe.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Juha to recover from that slowdown penalty.
Yeah,
he's still got to worry about Matt Wood behind him.
Yeah, Gurno just kind of runs these perfect laps every time. I know he wouldn't admit it, but he just doesn't really make any big mistakes. Even the race at, I believe it was Charlotte, where he didn't qualify very good, but he just kind of ran his race without making mistakes and got up to the front. Didn't win, but it got up to the front. And so you can't give him that space, you know. Noah Lampe's going to have a hard time catching up to him.
Next week, by the way, the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship will be heading to Barber Motorsports Park. Bit more open there, but just as twisty, really.
Yeah, that should be a great track for these cars. I know in the Indy cars, it's a really good track, so just nice flowing, not a lot of stop and start like this track is, so that should be a good race to watch.
We've got a few good races out here on track right now. Obviously, the one for seconds broke up a little bit between Juha and Matt. The one for fourth is still close, though. Nicola Cotree and Alex Millwood. Actually, as they work their way out onto the back straight, Cotree is trying to go defensive a little bit. Oh, actually was picking up a bit of a slipstream from the lap car. And Millwood is definitely there. If Cotree does make a mistake, he should easily be able to sneak fourth place away from him.
So far, lap cars have been good, kind of keeping out of the way. But you can see from those shots, those camera shots there, you can see how much traffic they are going through. Almost every corner, they're catching up to somebody.
And the lap traffic is going to get tougher as the race goes on. Obviously, right now they're picking off for drivers who are a little bit off the pace and aren't really involved in any battles. But once they get up to the 20s or the high teens, that's where they're going to end up fighting with some drivers who are fighting for some valuable positions themselves. Something's happened to Peter Konietzki here. He had worked his way up to 15th place and now he's all the way back in 18th. Always try and keep an eye on Peter Konietzki because he's a Brabham driver, the other driver carrying the flag for that team alongside Gurno Frief. So with Brabham leading points right now, fact that Kanowski's back there in 18th, and may have lost a bit more there. Isn't going to be doing the team a whole lot of favours.
You can see how sketchy those cars
no,
can
Lampi
get.
has gone off from second. He just had a slide that costs him several positions.
Okay, he's starting to get pressure from Matt Wood there. Comes into the corner and looks like he just tries to get on the gas and just gets a little bit loose. Whoa! Fortunately, he doesn't hit anything. It's one of the few spots that's open, but he does definitely loses some spots.
So that'll move Matt Wood up into second place, Coachy up into third, and Millwood up into fourth. And we haven't really gave a shout out to the driver running in sixth place behind Nora Lampi right now. David Roth having a nice drive up there in sixth position.
Yeah, he was in that battle with Suarez earlier on. Once he got by, he just kind of took off, and he's doing a good job just kind of doing his thing all by himself. But he's got Nora Lampi in his sights, and Nora Lampi's got to just kind of cool down and put it back together and try to get back up into that battle for the podium.
Already approaching the halfway mark in this race. And a lot of our battles have broke up a little bit.
Lambert's going by Suarez at the moment. Went around the outside and made that pass. Oh, he missed the chicane and gave it right on. You see they come down the straightaway here. I just have to be watching this myself. Suarez goes to the inside after this next part, holds the inside. Lambert gets the draft, goes around the outside, but cooks it a little bit deep into this next section. This part always catches me out. It's a lot slower than it looks.
It's also a bit of a difficult place to pick up your braking zone because you're coming out of a kink. And then you got to straighten the car out, find your braking marker, hit it, and then get through the chicane. As these two have switched back and forth, that's allowed the two cars behind them to close in a little bit. Tommy and Hole in 10th place and Marco Sanfilippo in 11th.
Meanwhile, up front, Durno's doing his thing like he always does, getting through the traffic pretty cleanly. He's already got a 7 and 8 second gap on second place Matt Wood. Not much happening up there.
It's got to be a bit of a good round for Matt Wood, though. I mean, he is in this championship picture, but he's lost quite a bit of ground to Gurno recent weeks, and he'll probably be satisfied to come out of today with a second place finish. However, that's not going to help him make inroads on Friesch in the championship.
Not much else going on out there. We do have a, everybody's kind of spread out enough to where we're not having too much of a battle, although Nicola Coachy and Alex Millward are still nose to tail, battling for that final podium spot, but I haven't been able to see Alex really try to make a move yet.
Yeah, he's kind of just riding right on his gearbox for now. The two Ligier teammates were side by side for 8th place again, but still Suarez holding on ahead in that battle. Oh, and Coachy in trouble.
Coachy clipped the lap car and slowed down, and then Alex had nowhere to go and kind of punted him off into the fence. Wow, that was too bad.
So the two drivers who have been running 3rd and 4th are now pretty much done for. That's going to put Juha Noralampi back on the podium. It moves David Roth up into 4th.
Oh, you see that lap car cut the track, and Coachy just came out with a lot of momentum, clipped his tire, slowed down, and then Alex had nowhere to go. So just kind of a racing incident, unfortunately, with the lap car.
Now, Millwood has escaped with damage, but he's still going in 6th place. Coachy definitely came off worse from this.
Yeah, Coachy's in the pits. He's done. But Millward is going to be able to keep going, but he definitely has some damage. He had to do a little 3-point turn to get going again.
Yeah, Millward is actually losing positions as they go through the first sector now. One of the faster parts of the track. You see he's just in the way of Marco Sanfilippo as we take a look at the damaged Nicola Cocci in the pits. Marco Sanfilippo goes by Millward.
Meanwhile, George Lambert has gotten by Suarez while we were watching that replay, and he's kind of left him. And now Suarez has Unhola behind him. So Suarez is struggling a little bit, but he's doing a good job holding his own.
Yes, so top 10 right now is Frisch, Wood, Nora Lampe. David Roth moves up into fourth through all that. Sergio Fernandez fifth. And George Lambert all of a sudden finds himself in sixth after taking that spot from Pablo Suarez down in seventh. Then Unhola is in 8th place, Marco Sanfilippo in 9th, and Alex Millward comes into the pits from 10th. The damage is too much.
Yeah, his car is pretty banged up, so probably, I don't even know if it's driving straight, so he's definitely going to call it.
Now move Barry West up into the top 10. Another Ligier up in the top 10. They're having a good day today.
And that's kind of what we were talking about. As they get deeper into this field, those lap cars become a little bit more of an issue. And it's definitely mixing up the field. But Gurno's lapped all the way up to 23rd now, 24th roughly. He's got a healthy lead over Matt Wood. But he's got to be careful too. You know, those guys can make a mistake right in front of him, and no fault of his own could be taken out.
Tommy, oh, contact! Tommy Unhola made the pass on Pablo Lombardo. Suarez couldn't get the power down, and there was contact between them. Now, can these two continue okay?
Unhola's got a lot of damage, and it looks like he's struggling just to drive straight. But it's basically the same section we saw the last problem happen, and just kind of had to slow down so much to make that corner that Suarez just couldn't slow down and kind of drove right through him, basically. So there he goes, just locked it up. And Suarez just tried to do his thing. And no fault of Suarez, just part of a racing, part of the track. You know, the track's very difficult in that way.
Yeah, Unhola definitely came off worse of that. Suarez has been able to continue. Unhola is bringing it into the pits.
So that's going to move Sanfilippo and Barry West up into 8th, 9th. Kendrick Taylor up to 10th now.
Well, the first half of the race was quite clean. If this is any indication on what to expect in the second half, get ready, because there we see a pass for 7th place. Marco Sanfilippo goes by Suarez. Suarez might be carrying a bit of damage from that contact with Unhola.
He's got a healthy 12-second lead over Matt Wood. That's pretty impressive. But it's getting a little crazy there in that midfield. And we'll just keep an eye on that because it's changing positions with these accidents lap after lap.
Trouble for John Stevens and Adnan Dizderevic.
Ooh, they got together before they even got there. I don't think Adnan knew John Stevens was there and kind of moved over to make the turn and touched wheels, and they both went off. We are on board with John Stevens. He's going to get a really good run off that corner. Pulls up alongside him a little bit late, and Adnan kind of just moved over to make the corner and probably didn't, like I said, didn't even know he was there.
So we enter the second half of a race, and a lot of carnage all of a sudden after what had been quite a clean opening half to this event. We've seen a lot of battles go on throughout the race. Maybe drivers just getting a bit impatient now, thinking, all right, we're hitting the closing laps. These laps click off in a hurry. I need to make something happen.
Yeah, and it's just the nature of the track to try to force those moves. And got to give a shout out to David Rolfe. He started 8th, running in 4th, just kind of staying clean there. Made a good pass earlier on Suarez, and he's moved all the way up to almost that podium spot. Nor Lampe, after his earlier mistake, has reclaimed that 3rd position where he started.
Yeah, there's a few big movers in the middle of the field right now. Charles-Eric Lemelin being one of them. He's up to 12th place from 22nd on the grid.
Yeah, that's a huge move. 10 spots. It's going to be our biggest mover so far. Actually, Dustin Herder, 28th to 17th as well.
Barry West just got 8th position from Pablo Lombrera Suarez. Wonder if this is an instance of Suarez carrying a bit of damage, sees his teammate coming up behind him. Does he put up much of a fight?
Nah, he doesn't. Suarez does have some damage, so he's just dragging that thing around. As another car's about to go by him, Kendrick Taylor. You can see how much slower he is down the straightaways. These guys get huge runs on him. So Suarez is just trying to finish at this point.
Yeah, he's carrying a bit of damage, but at least he's still running. Some drivers not as fortunate. One of those drivers being Nicola Cotree, and he's actually came here to talk to us. Nicola, unfortunately, we're talking to you a bit earlier than what you would like.
Yeah, very early. I had still 2/3 of the race to do, and it was going to be awesome because not very often that you have the chance to fight with you that it was coming back. Every time that things like this happens, every time there is always somebody that he doesn't know what he's doing or why he's doing what is there, and it happens so often that I'm pissed off. It's a big understatement.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate to see your race go downhill because, like you say, you had a pretty good race going on. When do you think everyone's biding their time until? We've seen a lot of little battles go on the track, including yours. When do you think drivers are going to start picking up the intensity? With about 5 laps to go around here?
I think that it's possible to do, at least for me, it's possible to do like the last 10 laps completely flat out, and to risk it very, very much, not more than 10 laps, at least for me. So once the car is going to be lighter because of the fuel burning, it's gonna be a lot faster, and you can take a lot many risks rather than on the first part of the race, because you have the heavy car, a lot of very fast corner with a lot of bumps that it could be like race ending. So I think that most of the people are going to wait for the last 10 laps or so, but it's very difficult to pass here anyway, so it's going to be like a very interesting things to see.
All right, well, Nicola, we've seen you on the podium 3 times already this year. Of course, you won at Charlotte, you got a podium at Road Atlanta, and one at Tsukuba. Would have been nice to have seen another one today. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. Do you think you can get a podium again next week at Barber?
Yeah, I think that my spot is around 3rd to 4th or maybe 5th position, depending on the faster guys that are going to be in the race. So yeah, I always look for a podium. With a little bit of luck, I could get it one today, but my luck seems to run out, at least for this time. But I hope that the split number is going to change it very soon, and we are going to diminish this issue of the lap car, that it's probably quite big in this season at least.
All right, well, thanks for coming to talk to us, Nicola, and we hope to see you back next week at Barber.
Thank you, guys. Let's see if the next time is going to be a little bit more of luck. Thank you. Bye.
Richie, we've been watching some exciting racing out here on track, and right around 10th place.
Yeah, we were watching that during that interview. You saw Kendrick Taylor just kind of lose it on his own. He was trying hard to get around Suarez, and now we're watching this battle with Atkinson, Lemerlin, Robert Plunley. It's all starting to stack up. Like he said, 10 laps to go, and these guys are really starting to try to force the issues, and it's starting to make it a little exciting.
Oh, and now it's just got ugly. I think all 4 picked up damage from that.
Yeah, going side by side down that hill into the chicane. It's really only room for one car. And we've seen this area have problems before. And then he just spins, collects everybody. And that's just the way it goes.
And that's why you don't tailgate. Unfortunately, you kind of have to in motor racing, but just to let you know why you shouldn't do it on the interstate.
And Robert Plumley's just innocent bystander, just had nowhere to go, got pushed off. He got probably the least of it all, and was at least able to keep going straight. But they all have damage now.
So that breaks up one of the more exciting battles we had here for the closing 10 laps, but there's still a few battles out there. Pablo Lombardo Suarez now has Daniel Banca behind him, and Banca is going to be gaining a lot of iRacing points today if he can keep this going.
Yeah, absolutely. The 27 car running in 10th spot, looking to get that 9th position. Also, David Rolfe, 12 car, running in 4 spots. Those guys are going to get some healthy points after this race if they can keep it together.
Unfortunately, it's seemed to be being proven to be a big if. Yeah, Nicola Cochi say he thinks the last 5 laps is when it'll get aggressive. Well, if we see more of this, the race order could change quite a bit before the checkered flag drops. Got a good battle for 13th still going on with Charles-Eric Lemeling, Daniel Gutasso and Peter Konecki.
Yeah, up front, it's a little bit of a snooze fest here as Gurno's got a 12-second lead over Matt Wood. And the first top 3 cars are all running the same position they started at.
Yeah, but Gurno Frisch was about to catch a couple of these battles that we're watching for around 10th to 15th place. And that's where it could get a bit interesting for our race leader, even though he is holding a 13-second lead.
Yeah, just like we've seen in the other races with these big fields, it starts getting a little bit harder as he gets closer into the midfield. Those guys are not that slow, and they're racing hard, so they're not just gonna let him by. He's gonna have to just be patient.
And solo mistakes not out of a question. How tricky this track is. Robert Simpkins running in 20th place just had a big slide through the last chicane and put it in the wall. Was able to keep on going, but just further proof that no driver is safe. Especially as the marbles and the dust starts to build up off a racing line, which isn't that wide to begin with here at Zolder.
Yeah, this battle right here with Charles Lemelin. Eric Lemelin, he's got a lot of damage on his car, so he's definitely hurting top speed-wise, and it's brought Gutuzzo and Konecki right up, and they're trying hard to get to that 13th position.
Trying hard and running out of time. You see Charles-Eric Lemelin holding on to this position despite a pretty nasty kink in his rear wing.
Battles going on as well. Suarez, we talked a lot about Suarez today. He's been in a lot of battles. He's got Daniel Banker all over the back of him. And Daniel, like I said, if he can just hold on, he's going to get a really good points haul, but he's got to be careful because he's running right up to the back of Suarez into these chicanes. We'll just kind of keep an eye on that as we go. Barry West doing a good job from 12th to 8th. He's kind of running all on his own. Same thing with Felipe, Marco Sanfilippo. All these guys up front are just kind of separated out. Not much battles to report.
Now Suarez is doing a nice job now of not losing positions despite the damage he has on his car. Maybe he's learned to cope with it.
Ooh,
and our race...
Just going to say, Daniel Baker almost ran into the back of Suarez as they came into that fast right-hander.
And our race leader, Gurno Frisch, is about to catch that 3-way scrap going on for 13th place. So I want to keep an eye on this because Frisch has got to make sure he gets by cleanly, while Lemelin, Gutasso and Konecki are going to be trying to let him by, but at the same time trying to not lose positions or lose ground to the drivers they're racing.
Yeah, and Gurno's, he's got 12 seconds on Matt Wood, so he's got a little bit of a gap, but not so much to where he's just he can just cruise behind these guys. And like we've seen, all it takes is one guy to make a mistake in the chicane and wipe out all of them. So he's definitely got to be a little bit careful. And he has, what, 6 laps to go. So we'll see. Oh, it looks like Kendrick Taylor's going to, or Peter Kaninsky's going to let Gurno go by.
Being nice to his Brabham teammate. Now, Konecki was a little ways back of Gutasso and Lemelin. He didn't have anything to lose. These two drivers do. Gutasso pulls to the side. And that's actually nicely done. Oh, he's not backing off and letting him by yet.
I think he got a slowdown in that. Yeah, he cut that chicane there and got a slowdown, so he had to let him back by. And Gutasso tried to be nice, let him by, and then he had to let him back by. He's lost touch with Lemelin, so now they're all separated back out by a couple of seconds or a second or so.
Yeah, Charles-Eric Lemelin comes off the big winner of all that going on, because Gutasso still has to let the leader by, whereas now he's not within striking range of Lemelin anymore. In fact, he's got to be careful here that he gets back on the power before Konecki gets too close. He's able to do that.
Yeah, very good job with those back markers, and it's not easy to do. You know, you're in the back for a reason. Like, car's not handling good, you're struggling with the track, so it's not that easy just to go, hey, see, go on by me, without making a big mistake for yourself. So nicely done with those guys.
And that's full position. Konecki. Oh, and Gutasso comes down on Dustin Hereder. I was about to give this guy a shout out because he's been a big movie. Didn't get a good qualifying in, started 28th, but he's up in 16th right now, banning wheels for 15th.
Yeah, that was a little bit of an aggressive move by Dustin. He kind of just sent it in there, saw the opening, and just decided to see what would happen. But now he's got the run on Danielle, and he's going to make that pass, but that could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, so Dustin has a number 9 on his car. That's why I figured 28th was definitely not where he should have qualified. He's done a nice job of coming through the field. Up until this point, I think he was getting a bit too ambitious.
Yeah, he had no chance of making that move. So, fortunately, they both get off all right. I'm sure that Danielle's not too pleased with it, but they're able to continue on.
Now Dustin will try and run down Peter Konecki for 14th place ahead of him. Kendrick Taylor's now also gone a lap down in 12th place, so Gurno Fischer's lapped up to 11th. Oh, David Rowe! He had such a good race going, up in 4th, now he's lost a couple of spots.
Yeah, it looks like, I think he just lost it on his own. I was just clicking through the field and wasn't really watching any battles going. Here he is, just clips the curb and gets on the gas and spins out. Fortunately, no harm, no foul, but definitely not the way he wanted to do that lap.
So that moves Sergio Fernandez up to 4th, and what about George Lambert up to 5th? He was running around 10th place not too long ago. He's been able to pick off drivers by keeping it on the track.
I was just going to comment that there wasn't much going on through that top 7, 8, 9 positions. Not much happening all the way through, but he obviously decided to do his own thing.
And Ligier, I think, are still going to come off the big winners here today, because even though we've seen their drivers involved in a bit of drama, they're still running there in the top 10. Pablo Lombardo Suarez down in 9th, Barry West up in 8th, and George Lambert in 5th.
Yeah, we got a pass maybe for 13th as Peter Kaninsky is going to go by Charles. Ooh, right around the outside in that chicane. That was tight. And now Charles is going to try to get back by. He does have a lot of damage, but he is not falling away. Oh, here comes Dustin Hereder just dive bombing again. He's got that Ayrton Senna helmet paint job, so he's trying to send it in there. Oh, and he takes him out. Takes him out.
And Dustin Herodor hits the incident limit, and that will disqualify him from the race. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a whole lot of consolation to Lemelin because he lost a bit of ground, obviously, through all of that.
And once again, it is just way too late to just drive in like that. These cars don't have ABS. They don't stop very good. They got tiny front tires. And, yeah, that's too bad. But Charles didn't lose any positions, just lost some track time.
And those two both still racing for, well, at least Charles Eric Lemelin still racing for a team as well. Lotus up there in the championship fight. Matt Wood is one of his teammates, so they'll be getting a handy sum of points today. However, Gernot Frisch for Brabham will be getting the most amount of points because he has got just one more lap left to go here at Zolder.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Gernot. He has crushed the field once again. He's lapped all the way up to 11th position. So, man, just like I say, he's kind of a master in this Lotus 79 car.
In fact, I think the team coming out weakest here today is Ferrari. Really haven't seen those guys represented well in the top 10 at all. Now this battle for 9th between Pablo Lombarra Suarez and Daniel Banker is going on right in front of our leader. I don't think Gernot Frisch will catch him. He doesn't have any need to catch him before the end of the race. So this battle for 9th will be interesting to watch for another lap around Circuit Zolder. As Gernot Frisch is fun to watch, just to watch a master at work picking off another victory, it looks like, here today at Zolder.
Yeah, probably the best battle on this last lap is going to be between Suarez and Banker. He's still trying to get around him. Suarez doing a good job holding on to that 9th position.
But right behind him on track, Gernot Frisch comes out of a final chicane, and he is your winner here today at Zolder.
Matt Wood doing a good job coming up and finished 2nd position. And Norlampi coming back into 3rd from that earlier mistake. Nicely done for him.
4th place is quite close, but Fernandez will hold on ahead of Lambert. David Rose should get 6th. Marco Sanfilippo will get 7th. Barry West 8th. But who will get 9th place? It's definitely still contested. And this is for all the marbles. If these two drivers crash, they'll still finish 9th and 10th.
Yeah, I don't think he's close enough to make a move on Suarez at the moment. And he might just be happy with that 10th position carrying that number 27 car. So he might not even try to take the risk unless the opening's there for him.
What risk? Throw it in there. If you crash, you finish 10th anyway. He's not going to listen to me. All right, it looks like Suarez will get 9th, Banker will get 10th.
Yeah, unless you want to get disqualified like we just saw.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up our racing action here at Zolder. We're going to take a quick break and be back with a full race rundown and drive interviews. And something happened to Bank on the last lap because he's been shown as finishing 2 minutes behind the race leader. I wonder if Daniel Banker was carrying a minute's worth of penalties there at the end. Oh, well. All right, well, he still gets 10th. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to Zolder, where we just witnessed round 8 of the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship. And once again, your race winner was Gernot Frisch from pole position. I think he got the fastest lap too, pretty much a grand slam performance from him today. 13 seconds down the road is Matt Wood. Unfortunately, I think that might be too little too late to salvage any shots of the championship. Juha Noorlampi, he ran into some troubles today, but still came home on the 3rd spot of a podium ahead of Sergio Fernandez and George Lambert. David Rove, 6th wasn't exactly what he was looking for, but still a decent finish for him, ahead of Marco Sanfilippo and Barry West in 8th place, Pablo Lombora Suarez. And then I'm really curious what happened to Daniel Banker. It looked like he got a minute of penalties tacked on at the end of the race, but it didn't cost him any positions because he was the last car on the lead lap. So everyone else still remains a lap down, and Daniel Banker remains in 10th.
Yeah, Robert Pumley, first car lap down in 11th. Right behind him would be Kendrick Taylor. Peter Kaninsky in 13th. Danielle Gutuzzo in 14th. Charles Eric Lemon 15th. Keith Herner 16th. James Chester in 17th. Robert Simpkins in 18th. Then Glenn Corrigan comes in 19th. 2 laps down. And right behind him will be Francois Gagne in 20th.
Yeah, a lot of drivers there we didn't really give a shout out to, but still brought it home with pretty decent finishes in the top half of the field. Behind them was Todd Herner in 21st. Dustin Herodor hit the incident limit and has to settle for 22nd, ahead of Fabio Guerrero in 23rd and Paulo Albertin. John Atkinson Jr. rounds out the cars, I believe, that were still running at the end in 25th. Now we get to the drivers who were retirees, including Adnan Dizdarevic, Tony Teals, Tommy Mikel Unhola, John Stevens, and Alex Millwood.
Daniele Sanfilippo in 31st. Nicola Kochi, we talked to him earlier, started 5th. Unfortunately, finishes 32nd. Nicholas Isidro in 33rd. Steve Sarlis, 34th. David Ashby, 35th. Yais Baldock in 36th. Francois Javier Gutierrez in 37th. Simon Schultz in 38th. And looks like Javier Romero didn't take the start. Will finish 39th.
So we got some drivers to talk to, including our race winner, Gernot Frisch. 6 wins out of 8 races this season. Congratulations.
Hi, Sam. Yeah, thanks a lot. Looks like I'm on a run this season. So, actually, yeah, even that race with that much traffic on track was a good one for me. So yeah, I'm happy with that week.
How is it when you come up to packs of lap cars like you were towards the end in there you caught your teammate Peter Kaninsky in the battle with a couple of other cars, and knowing you can't exactly sit behind them, because if you did, Barry West would have, Matt Wood would have ran you down.
It's not an easy track for overtaking and for lapping, but I really have to say thanks to everyone involved, because all the drivers were quite kind to me. But yeah, as I saw from the in-game chat, many other drivers had less luck than me. So it's always tricky on these narrow and technical tracks.
Yeah, we saw you at Charlotte recently, a race that you didn't win, but you were able to navigate your way through traffic quite well, and that's how you were able to get a solid finish out of there. Next week we go to Barber Motorsports Parks. It's still a twisty circuit, but there aren't as many walls, so will that make lap traffic a bit easier?
No, not really. It's also a track that is rather narrow, has many blind corners, and it's not a long track. So even that one will be really tough, and I also have to admit that it's not my favorite track. So yeah, let's see how things go there.
Well, you'll be aiming for win 7 out of 9 this season, and we wish you the best with that. Thanks for coming here today and talking to us, and congratulations on another great performance.
Thanks, guys. See you next week. Bye-bye.
That was our race winner, Gernot Frisch, and Richie, you've called up with George Lamp.
Yeah, George, nice to join us here. Started 9th, finished 5th, a nice top 5. Was a little busy with your teammate there with Suarez, but once you got by him, you're able to kind of move your way up.
Yeah, I don't blame him. He could run his own race, so no team orders here.
Yeah, we were wondering about that. I mean, we know the teams are kind of picked randomly, so just because you have the same color car doesn't mean you're working together. But man, it was a little tight. Once, like I say, once you got by them, you're able to pull ahead. And there obviously was some incidents up front. Looked like lap traffic was getting a little bit crazy there near the end, like 10 laps to go.
I didn't really have any trouble with lap traffic, so I can't speak for what happened to the others. I didn't see it.
Well, that's a good thing then, and just trying to keep it clean. But some of those other guys definitely got caught up in some other people's wrecks. 39 cars on this track is tight. This is a tough track to make those passes stick without getting in contact. And but you did a good job. Are you going to come to Barber next week?
Yeah, this and Barber were kind of the tracks I was dreading because they're not used very often. Bumpy. Yeah, they're difficult in this car because if you're not careful, it can snap. I had a couple of big moments in the last chicane. Yeah, so Barber's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I agree. This track is difficult for me as well. Just really hard to find a flow. But at least Barber has a little bit more runoff. So if you do make a mistake, there's not just a fence to hit right away.
Yeah, it's just those fast S's around the back. It's always scary.
Yeah, they're a little blind too, and you come into those really quickly. But should be a good, interesting race for you guys. Well, nicely done. I know you probably wanted more being the number 4 car, but you're still going to get some good points, and you kept it clean. So nicely done.
Yeah, I had a kind of bad qualifying, and the first lap wasn't great either. It was a scruffy race just in general for me. But yeah, was it 5th? More than I deserved, I think, today.
Yeah, no, it's still a good job. Kind of survival there. So, well, thanks for joining us here, George. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
All right, one more driver left to talk to. That's Barry West. Solid top 10 today, Barry.
Yeah, that was a good race. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, it was entertaining. Kendrick kept me honest at the beginning part of the race. I think from the start, James Chester's got a good start and made a mistake in the first chicane, which nearly came to grief on. But of course, then the Betterfield got away. But with who was it? Dan, one of the brothers, Marco Sanfilippo, battling with Tommy. I just kept a watching brief there, and I thought I'd try and keep the car together because I know that chicane, if you take too much of the left-hand curve going in the first chicane, you can get terrible understeer in the corners because you get your left side of your front wing bent up. So I was just playing it careful, and it paid off. Yeah, I was quite pleased with that result.
Not only a good result for you, Barry, but a good result for Ligier as well. I believe all 3 of you were up there in the top 10 at the end. How much do you keep an eye on that kind of stuff throughout the season? Is it like a bit of prestige? Do you get any prizes or bragging rights at the end of the year for being the team champions?
Yeah, I mean, what happens, I don't know if you're aware in this series, that if you win the individual championship, and the team champion or the team championship, there's a book on Lotus 79 that gets shipped around the world and everybody signs it, and that's still going around from last season. So it's a reward to get. I mean, I've been so near to getting it in the team championship, but yeah, it'd be nice to win that one year. I mean, yeah, I'm the slower out of the 3 drivers, I think, but it's good to. I mean, Pablo had the pace. I mean, in an earlier race, practice, I was quicker than he was, and just depending on the conditions, I think. Yeah, but we were usually about the same pace, but he shot away from me now. But I think he had some damage, so he kindly moved over and let me pass. And then Kendrick had trouble. I think he got distracted and came to grief. But yeah, I was looking forward to actually getting past Marco. Having a go at Tommy because I love this track, but obviously they had the pace, but I had the consistency. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that.
Oh, it's good to know. You and me. So there are 2 people in this world at least who like this circuit. All right, well, thanks for coming to talk to us, Barry, and we wish you the best of luck at Barber next week.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Sam.
So some drivers, Richie, saying lap traffic wasn't an issue today. Some drivers saying it was.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously saw some incidents with lap traffic, and I think it just depends on where you caught them. We saw with Gurno, those guys did a good job getting out of, kind of letting him have his space, and definitely saw some good battles though. So it was pretty exciting on our end.
And should see even more drama next week at Barber Motorsports Park. Obviously, some drivers already a little concerned about what traffic is going to be like there and what a team championship battle we have going on between Ligier, Lotus, Ferrari and Brabham. Well, we hope you all join us next week here on the GSRC for round number 9. Before we head out tonight, we would like to thank all of the organisers and the competitors from the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship for choosing GSRC and putting on another great show. We would also like to thank all of the companies that provide us the software and hardware that we use during our broadcasts, and there you can see them all listed on your screen. Additional thanks goes out to Evercare Coleman and June Lalonde to provide us with our great music. See the screen for how to get hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Richie, Amjad and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can visit us at globalsimracingchannel.com, whilst on Twitter at GSR Channel, and be sure to give us a like on Facebook and follow us on Instagram at GSRC_gram. All of the upcoming races for our other series are listed on your screen, so check those out, mark them down on your calendar, and don't miss another second of exciting racing action. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.